Haters, ¿cómo están? Les doy la bienvenida nuevamente aquí a otra edición de Conversaciones desde el Inframundo. En esta ocasión tenemos la oportunidad de hablar con Codie Jones, alias The Maze Controller, quien es la voz, el bajo y es el frontman, el líder de una gran banda que lleva por título Dungeon Crawl, quienes son oriundos de San José, California. Una banda que se podría decir que es de thrash, pero también tiene algunos elementos de power y de symphonic metal. Ellos acaban de lanzar el día de hoy, 20 de septiembre, su más reciente álbum, segundo álbum de estudio titulado Maze Controller, a través del sello Carbonized Records. So, Cody, welcome to Conversation from the Underworld. How are you doing, man? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for the amazing intro. I understood most of it. I don't speak Spanish, but I caught a lot of it.
I mean,
Appreciate you having
you're in
me.
California, man.
Yeah, well, I'm in California. Yeah, there's a big Spanish speaking population here, but I learned, I like, I can pick up some words and stuff. I know a few things. um, yeah,
It's enough enough
thanks
to
for
survive.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about the new record, which came out today. Um, yeah, just really excited to share everything that I can about it. And you know,
Of
uh,
course, Cody. Of course, as I was saying, thank you for your time, for your willingness to be here, to let all my viewers to know a little bit more about your band and about the most recent album, this great work titled
thank you.
Maze Controller. So, if you don't mind, and without further ado, I will start with the first question I got for you.
Yeah, yeah, fire away.
Okay, Corey. The first question is courtesy of Atron, the singer and frontman from Swedish band Damp. And the question is this one. How do you know, what do you feel when you realize that the song or songs you are working on are great songs? How do you know?
Oh man, that's it's a tough question.
Yeah,
Man, I don't really ever. I mean, I don't think I would consider my songs to be great. I mean, I do appreciate, like all the feedback and stuff that everyone's given me. Over the years, everyone's provided like, just insights on how to like improve things and how to write better music. And I guess like to um to answer the question, I would say maybe I don't want to say that they're great songs. I think just pouring yourself into something and giving, giving part of yourself to the music, and realizing that it's something that you really enjoy doing, that you love, and that you're not wasting your time on. You feel like you're not wasting your time. You feel like you're accomplishing something, and you feel good about it, right? Like as long as you're having fun and giving yourself like some credit where credit's due, like you put in the work. Any kind of music, it doesn't have to be like this
yeah.
crazy symphonic metal or like like death metal with blast beats at 300 beats per minute, right? Where it's just it's just nonstop, right? Like Flesh God Apocalypse or any of those other crazy um death metal bands. I think just as long as you're happy with it, then I guess you could say that you're making great songs. And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like a vanilla answer, but um I don't know. I just don't think that myself personally would view these as great songs. I mean, I love, like, I don't want to say I love listening to them. Like it's like it's a little bit narcissistic, right? um,
Yeah,
but
maybe you can say it, but I can say it.
yeah, yeah,
Those songs
yeah,
are
right.
great. So
Yeah.
don't worry about that. I'm saying those songs, these songs are great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. It's just as long as you're having fun doing it and having fun with the people, and you're making something meaningful that you feel like will last. And that's kind of always what it's been about, is like just leaving something like an impression, right? Just as long as you felt like you've left an impression on
Yeah,
somebody, then whether it's for 30 seconds or for like if it becomes their new favorite band or whatever, that's like
yeah.
um yeah, totally, man. I think that's just kind of like the way I view it. Yeah, I feel
Good.
like I've made something great, people listen to it, I feel, yeah, accomplished, right? So
Okay. Thanks for that very honest response,
yeah.
Cody.
Thanks,
And
man.
the next question I got for you is this one. Well, being in a band that creates music around such a topic as D&D and fantasy topics nowadays can be seen and perceived as something cool or even popular in some spheres. But I am pretty sure that being into that kind of stuff wasn't always as great as it is today. Am I right? So
Yeah,
tell me, what was the main thing that inspired you to keep going on the path that brought you to create a band such as Dungeon Crawl?
totally. Yeah. Like you said, if we had done this in like the 1980s, right? People would have been booed and, like put it thrown into a furnace and they would have burned us alive, right? Um, and even the 90s, like even after the Satanic Panic and stuff happened in the 80s and into the 90s and like the early 2000s, it was still kind of viewed as, a little bit more like it was nerdy. It wasn't, it wasn't cool. I think like that's definitely shifted like the public's view of what it is to be, in pop culture,
Yeah,
the cool things, they shift. And like this might not always be something that's, viewed as I guess for lack of a better word, cool, right? It might fall out of pop culture at some point, but I think it was mostly just growing up. To answer your question about what kind of
but keep you going on that path.
yeah, what kept me going is just growing up. I was really into Lord of the Rings, and it was probably one of the first fantasy you know books, like novels and like the film series,
Yeah,
the some of the first works that I'd ever encountered. I
me
remember I
too.
read I read The Hobbit when I was a kid. My dad's girlfriend at the time gave me her copy. And that was like
Nice.
it was one of the first books that I was ever able to like sit down and like, I mean, it's short, right? But I was able
Yeah.
to sit down and read through the whole thing and like really enjoyed it. And it really stuck with me. And then I saw Lord of the Rings um in theaters when they came out. And I remember being a kid. I was probably 10 years old at the time. I went with my mom, and I had surgery to get these like things in my nose. They're
Okay.
called adenoids. I
Oh,
got them removed. Yeah, and it's nothing too serious. It was just I got them taken out, and then I was out of school for a week. And that's when the first Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship, had come out, and my mom and my grandma took me to go see it. And it was just like one of those lasting impressions. And then just the fantasy thing growing up, and I was just really into like medieval fantasy. I read the D&D novel. There were these novels that based in one of the campaign settings called the Forgotten Realms. I read those when I was in high school, and they're like they were collections. They're like these omnibuses, or whatever.
yeah.
Um, they were collections, like volumes, written by this author called R.A. Salvatore or Salvatore. Um, and it was maybe 3 books per collection, 3 or 4 books per collection, and they're probably like 1,000 pages each. And yeah, and I read like 5 of them in high school, and that was kind of um the beginning of me getting into like D&D and just kind of that's where it started. And then so like I've had this like general love of like the genre for
Mhm.
ever, right, since I was a kid. And then yeah, and then in 2015 they released the 5th edition. And it was kind of like the you know, it was like super impressionable time in my life. It was like ripe for, you know, I just had all this creative energy
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
yeah, and just wanted to put it into something and we're really like hyped about super excited about the fifth edition of D&D, and we were playing it a lot, you know, like friends and
Yeah.
my friend Jared and I, like one of my best friends, he him and I started the project together, and then eventually he moved away. You know, he joined the military, the Navy, U.S.
Oh,
Navy. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you know, like we still um
just some friends,
talk,
of
and
course.
yeah, we're still friends, right? We you know, it's easier to be friends now in this day and age with like Discord and stuff like that to keep in contact.
Yeah.
So yeah, we still play games online and stuff, and we were playing D&D up until recently. We haven't played in a while.
Mhm.
Shame on me for being in a D&D themed band and not having
Not
an
playing it often.
active game. Yeah, but I mean, you know, I've played so much, and I'm I guess what you'd call a forever DM or a dungeon master, where it's like, you know,
Cause,
I'm always the role of the DM. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I mean that, and just kind of seeing it grow through, you know, like in pop culture with Critical Role and stuff like that too. I felt like it was like a really good niche. There's like a really good niche market there where I
yeah,
could, you know, just keep building on it, and people, you know, it's growing in pop culture. People, you know,
of
love the
course.
game. Yeah, millions of people watch people play on YouTube and Twitch and stuff. So it's like, why?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And it's never really been about like the business aspect of things, because I mean those, you know, those media outlets like Critical Role and like Dimension 20 and stuff like that, like they're really going for, you know, the streams, like they want the numbers, and they sell merch and stuff like that too. And like, you know, we
Yeah,
do that too. Like I sell the merch, and like I'm like, yeah, I'm obsessed with, you know, streams and like numbers, and I'm always looking at it and stuff, but it's not like it's ever been about that. It's always been about, you know, the music. Like,
yeah.
and you know, I guess I mean, you hear some bands, and they have this whole, you see them and they have this whole brand around them. And you listen to the music, and the music's good. And it's like super produced and stuff like that. But when you actually like listen to the songs, it's like, oh, I could probably write something like that, or you know,
Even
like,
better. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, you know, it works, and they sell shirts, and you know, and um tour tickets, and they have a whole persona, right? And we're kind of going for that. You know, we've got we have like an online persona, but
Yeah.
it's you know, just kind of, you know, a way to engage people more and just kind of um you know, have
Yeah.
an
Yeah. Yeah.
identity. Yeah.
I actually there's a band that's called Biscar Suden who actually they play like kind of prog rock, and they are
Yeah.
also into D&D, and they
I
create
see.
these albums with a whole concept, and even they release some D&D items, materials
Yeah.
with their albums, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to do something like that, and it's not so much just to. I mean, like I said, you know, not so much to sell, but I would, you know, obviously we would sell them because we have to,
Yeah,
you know, make we have to make the money that we invest back, just
exactly.
because it's like I don't want to go broke doing this, um, but yeah, I mean, to have something like a collector's item, because I've always, yeah, valued stuff like that too, where
Exactly.
it's yeah, I mean, you get like the box set of like the Lord of the Rings, and it's got, you know, artwork and maps and stuff like that, and stuff you can showcase, and you know, I like
Yeah,
collecting
little
things.
treasures.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah.
um
Thanks, Cody. Thanks.
yeah,
That was an amazing question. Sorry,
yeah.
answer.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, it was an amazing question because I was able to talk about it, you know, a lot.
Yeah.
So
Great, man. And my next question for you is this way: is in my album review, I mentioned that actually my album review went out yesterday. I
yeah,
mentioned that while you have a very aggressive sound, most of it on the guitars and the strings, you also have a way to use the symphonic elements to that brings to mind at least in my mind, the likes of bands like Epica, Kamelot, and bands like them. What is the
Yeah.
main inspiration behind the work on the symphonic elements?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't I mean so the biggest influence on myself
Yeah.
and our drummer, we we love I've mentioned this a couple times, not really much in writing on like the Instagram or social media, but a couple people I've talked to, it's all been Rhapsody. Just I've said a few times, if I had to pick like a favorite band, it would be
Mhm.
Rhapsody. And even I mean, the stuff they're doing now, like with the Rhapsody of Fire, where
Yeah.
it's just like Alex Staropoli. He's the one composing all the music and stuff now. I'm not super into it, but up until Luca Turilli, their old guitar player, they before they split ways, up until every album up until then, it's been just uh completely listenable, like all the way through. um Growing up in high school, that was one of my go-to's. I would listen to Rhapsody like for hours and hours every week. And I just love their sound and how it's just not your typical power metal, like
No, 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 not
no
at all. I mean,
yeah
their sound is, uh, I can surely describe their sound and their orchestrations as epic. I mean, in
yeah
all extension of the word.
yeah no exactly, yeah, just everything they do is just so intentional. And like it's never over the top, it's never
You know,
um like overwhelming.
never an
Everything,
accident there.
yeah, it's always like everything is always where you think it's going to be, or they're not predictable, but like it's where it needs to be, right? And
Yeah,
um they really have like they have like a good sense of dynamics and just ways to evoke emotions like from the listeners and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
so that was just biggest influence. And then going back to I don't want to be cliche or whatever, but it's like
You go and
I
be
love
whatever you want to be, man.
yeah, right. I mean, I really like um some classical music and Baroque music, and um you know uh like Vivaldi and yeah, like
Okay.
yeah, the Four Seasons was one of my favorites. um and then like I don't know if you're familiar with some of the Romantic era composers, but
Yeah.
um yeah, like Camille Saint Jean, or I don't know how to pronounce his name. I sound like an
Yeah,
idiot
kind
if
of
I try to
hard.
do it. But yeah, but he did like Dance Macabre and a few other really good pieces. He's got one called Introduction. Um, I'm like blanking because they don't really have titles, right? Where it's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
just like opus, whatever,
Number
whatever.
number 40. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so him and then Hector Berlioz, they like in that era, the Romantic era, there's some of my favorites. But yeah,
Yeah.
um, those guys, the powdered wigs, as people would call them. Uh, I'm into them. Um, yeah, and then for the symphonic stuff, yeah, I mean, like you said, Epica, and Camelot too. I think there was one song that I liked by them called Center of the Universe. I think that's one of their most popular
Yeah.
songs. Um, and then I would listen to some, you know, super cheesy stuff like Dragonland. I don't know if you're
Okay, yeah.
familiar with them. And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then Angra was a huge influence on me too. I mean, they're more on the progressive side of things,
Yeah.
but and the guitar playing I could never match, like they're just so above and beyond some of the best guitarists like Kiko. Before he left for Megadeth, he was just I mean, he still is like an amazing
Of
guitar
course,
player. Yeah, but
always innovative.
yeah, but Temple of Shadows. I don't know if you're familiar with the record.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites.
It's
So
a
yeah, I would
pretty
say,
good damn record.
yeah, crazy. Another one of those where it's no skips, and they know how to, they know how. It's not 100% all the time. They know how to like, you know,
Yeah, but it has its own flow, you know.
yeah,
It
yeah,
has
yeah,
what it needs to be listened completely without getting tired or boring or bored,
totally,
because it
yeah,
has these textures, these
yeah,
ups and downs that totally make sense.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the track like Wishing Well, it's like a way more, it's there's no distorted guitars, but it's all it's got its own yeah, clean singing, and just everything is just so like um
Dynamic, man.
yeah, exactly. So much dynamics.
Yeah,
Really good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Scully. And
Yeah.
I got one more question for you. And the question is this one.
Yeah.
If the future of all mankind depends on your ability to do something that you especially suck at, what would that thing be?
That I suck at. Oh man. Probably uh creating artwork. Like drawing, any kind of drawing or painting or um yeah, it's just I'm the absolute worst. I couldn't draw like a smiley face to save my life, It's like um
Really, that
my
bad?
yeah, dude, it's just yeah, I've never had I don't want to say I've never had the patience. I just have never just there's just no talent there whatsoever. And even if I did have, like if I put time into it, I mean, I might see like a little bit of improvement, but it would just be yeah.
Yeah, it will
Yeah.
be just effort, not that you
Yeah.
you have the gift.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean that's why I would depend on so many other, amazing artists to, help bring the image of the band to life with,
Yeah,
their
the
paintings and
Discover
stuff.
is badass. I mean, it is one of the best I
Yeah.
have seen, at least in the
Yeah,
year.
dude.
It's great.
Yeah, James did a, just like an amazing job. And it's kind of a shame that I we started the recording process. I mean, we didn't start the recording process, but I had a lot of the songs, finished maybe 2 years ago. And
Okay.
that's when I contacted him, and I was like, hey, put on this record. October of 2022, I was like, hey, we're gonna put out a new album. Can you do the cover? And then he did it and finished it in like, 2 months or whatever. And then I was like, okay, I'll let you know when we're there. And then 2 years later, here we are. So I felt
Well,
bad for
I just sold it a couple of weeks ago.
yeah, no, dude. No, well, I mean, I paid for the for the licensing and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, that was just um it was something I'm more aware of, next time around. I'm not gonna
Yeah, definitely experience, and you learn from it.
yeah, right, exactly.
Great, Cody. Thanks for that answer. And well, Cody, those were my questions. Thanks a lot for
Yeah,
answering them. Very honestly, very fun responses from you. I'm pretty sure
thank
my
you.
viewers will be delighted to hear and read all of what we were talking about. And
Yeah.
as I said to you at the beginning of our call, please help me out with a question that I can ask to my next guest. In this occasion, I will have my next guest in a couple of hours. So,
Oh, cool.
would you like to know who he is?
Yeah, sure.
Of course, my next guest will be Dan Gargiolo. He is the guitar player, the bass player, the synth, and one of the voices of a new band called Dreamless Veil. They play kind of a black metal, black and death metal. He will be my next guest if it helps you out. in formulating the question.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe what's your favorite song from the new Dungeon Crawl album? No, I'm kidding. No. Yeah. I mean, so if he's like a multi-instrumentalist, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, maybe. Which instrument do you like playing the most, or which one? I mean, out of all of them, which did you find most enjoy? Which one do you find the most enjoyment in? And do you prefer, I mean, obviously you can have a preference.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe how, yeah, I guess maybe is which one do you find the most enjoyment in? And let's see. My son's here, sorry.
No worries.
Let's see. Yeah, I think, I mean, that's probably a good, a good one. And then if you had to pick only one, maybe which one would you pick? Like, yeah.
Great question. I'm pretty sure she will have a hard time answering that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you said vocals, guitar, bass, and synth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. So I mean, out of all four of those, which one, if you had to pick one, and which one do you like the most?
Okay. Thanks. Great question, Cody. And well, those were my questions. Thanks a lot for your help with the question for my next guest. And let me say goodbye to our viewers in our native Spanish, Latin American Spanish. Haters, eso es todo lo que tenemos en esta entrevista con Codie Jones, the Maze Controller, el líder y el vocalista y bajista de la banda Maze, de donde este álbum que se llama Maze Controller de la banda Dungeon Crawl. No se lo pierdan, salió el día de hoy, viernes, a través de Carbonized Records. Codie, thanks a lot for your time, and I hope to see you soon. I hope you can come to Mexico to play this amazing album very soon.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, dude, if we can get out there, we're trying to, just do way more live stuff. So
yeah,
that'd be rad.
Okay, thanks a lot, Codie.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your time, and I appreciate the interview and the review too.
No, don't even mention it. It's my pleasure, man.
Yeah, cool, man. All right.
Cool, man.